Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate the support. Like the video, subscribe, tell your friends and family. Let's keep this thing going. I grew up in New England, a bastion for the Democrat Party going back decades. For a variety of reasons, as I grew up through my mid-teens into my mid to late 20s, my worldview aligned with conservatism, traditional values, slow and careful efforts at change, free market enterprise, capitalism and the constitutional republic, the political right, rather than liberalism, the modern interpretation of big government. Government is the answer and groups over individuals, the political left. Being on the right in New England has been and continues to be a real challenge filled with lots of dissonance and delicate relationships among family, friends, and colleagues. For many years, political conversations could be had, conversations about the direction of a town, city, state, or the country could be had. We were family and friends and coworkers. Over time, as the country has become more divided by ideology and public policy, those conversations first became more difficult and then disappeared. That is truly sad. When gathered among my Democrat friends and colleagues, politics, public policy, which president is doing well, which isn't, and the like, are off limits for fear of sparking tensions and anger and ruining relationships or a job. I have had and do have a few people in my life on the left who I have been able to talk current events with. And the key is not making it personal. No poking in the eye. No disrespect for another's opinion, but rather efforts at informing and persuading. I love those relationships. Otherwise, I can talk politics and public policy in the country with my few conservative family and friends and colleagues all day long, but in secret. I know for sure my liberal family, friends, colleagues joyously engage in these conversations in the absence of a conservative or Republican, though they can do so more openly and not in secret. We need to find a way past this, not just among ourselves as individuals, citizens, but among and between our elected officials. Democrats and Republicans used to hang out, engage, debate, argue. I'm trying to build a channel on YouTube. And in today's America, there are real risks to my socioeconomic status and future earning ability in publicly sharing thoughts and opinions based on my conservative ideology. There are lots of conservative voices on the platform, with lots of other like-minded people watching and listening. Though it is an echo chamber. The same applies to those on the left on other platforms. The right listens and watches the right, and the left listens and watches the left. We are talking right past each other. How do we, conservatives, Republicans persuade a Democrat if they won't talk, listen, or watch? How does a Democrat persuade a Republican who won't talk, listen, or watch? They likely can't. They likely won't. We are going to have to try sooner or later, or the divide, the chasm, will only grow and weaken America further. The key to managing these conversations between the left and the right is how well one can manage being offended, being misguided or wrong, being open to listening before speaking, and importantly, knowing the facts, the empirical evidence. To what degree can one side admit their side mistakes and policy errors like the other side? I've been studying the U.S. economy and politics since the 1980s. The Republican Party is pretty much where it has been since that time. Check the GOP platform from 1988 and the one from 2024. You'll find pretty much the same policy. That isn't the case for the Democrat Party. If the political fight was called today, it's over. In the middle of the ring, the referee would hold up the arm of the left, the Democrats. They won. Conservatives have lost. Of course, the fight hasn't been called, and the Democrats are winning. They control the country through policy and rhetoric. They have been the agents of change. Change much of the right has never agreed with and still doesn't. I would love it if liberals, Democrats, leftists would listen to my channel. Because so many of my family, friends, and colleagues are on the left, Democrats, I carefully try not to throw rhetorical bombs, poke them in the eye, assassinate character, impugn all for the actions of some. It may happen from time to time, but that's kind of my guide. while I'm still trying to put forth a conservative argument against Democrat policies and politics that seem to be the source of America's secular decline since the 1970s. With a focus on economics and the economy, I can bring objectivity to the conversation by relying on empirical evidence and the connection between public policy and real economic outcomes for towns, cities, and the country. I'm hopeful Democrats will listen and watch the channel. And perhaps by doing so is a way to allow conversations to be started with my Democrat family, friends, and colleagues in person, and perhaps for you too. Don't be afraid to try to reach across the aisle to your family, friends, and colleagues. It was once done. We collectively could do it again. Thick skin, being well informed, not talking over each other, understanding one really good basis for constructive conversation is when two disagree. Lastly, importantly, knowing when to end the conversation to avoid the anger, the animosity. All right, that's all I have for you right now. Always try to buy American.